Welcome back, everyone. My name is Trap. I hope you're having a good night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Today is my daughter's birthday, so I just thought I would do a video real quick in honor of her. Today I'm going to be covering another plugin that I've used. It's called img-clip. It's built by Håkon Harnes. We're also going to be seeing me using Karl's Neovim. You guys have seen me use that in most of my videos. I also am going to be using Markdown Preview. I am not going to try traditional Chinese. I'm not good at that at all. And we're also going to be using the GX plugin to get this video done. There's several topics that we're going to cover. I'm going to primarily be using two terminals. I will use Kitty and I will be using Alacritty. There is a difference between these two terminals when it comes to the drag and drop feature capability. That is a limitation of the terminal, not the plugin. I'm going to also demonstrate some things that cause some confusion when you're doing drag and drop, especially if you're trying to do base 64 images, or if you're doing some images that you might be logged into a site and you're in the account and you try to copy the image from the account and you get the URL. I'm going to demonstrate how that can happen and maybe some things that you could run into that cause that problem. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So the first thing we're going to do is, as always, I like to give credit to the people that I'm using their work. So we're going to start off by looking at Håkon's work, and this is his site. And this is the author of that plugin. He has been very helpful. If you want to know more about the content that he's helped me with, go into the issues list and look up this issue here that's called, it's going to be called Expand Directory Path Functionality. For the last two and a half, 3 weeks, he and I have been going over this plugin. So he's been helping me with the setup as well as giving me some pointers on how to get some of the functionality working. So huge shout out to him for taking the time to work with me on this. I really enjoyed using his plugin, so I hope you find this little tutorial helpful. Also, we're going to be using Karl's Neovim plugin. You use that quite a bit. So if you notice what I did, I was on a link and I simply pressed the return key and it brings up the web page. And we're going to navigate back over to that page. You can see if I get onto the page correctly and I just use my tab key once I get the cursor working, you can see I'm hopping between links just by pushing the tab key. Shift tab goes back with the other links. So that's expected behavior with that plugin. I use it quite a bit to do my videos, as well as I use it as my note-taking system. And you can see one of the reasons that I use this quite a bit, because as soon as I get onto an active link, I can click on it and it brings up the appropriate URL. It's got some really cool features. I will be doing another video specifically geared toward Neovim, because there's some really cool capabilities. That particular plugin deserves its own video itself. I am using this GX Vim. I found it to be kind of useful. It's not kind of useful. It's very useful. I find situations where I'm in certain kind of files that I want to bring something up. So it's pretty smart. It's very easy to set up. Almost zero configuration. I will be using that plugin during this video. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stop the browser, and I'm going to bring up the Markdown previewer so it will render the page that we're currently looking at. But I'm going to explain some of the things I'm doing as I do them. And then at a couple points in the video, you're going to see me switching sessions. I'll explain why I'm switching I'll explain why I'm switching to another terminal. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you some of the settings and how I've set this up to make this awesome plugin just do the same things you're going to see me doing. So let's get it on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to bring up which key, and I'm going to do a markdown. So I got three options. I got preview, stop, and toggle preview. So we'll just go ahead and do the preview, and you're going to see this is going to come up pretty quick, and it rendered the page for me very, very nicely. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and close these other tabs because I may end up using some of them again, and I wanted them to come up when I need them. So what we're going to do right now is, you can see the page has been rendered rather nicely for me. The first thing I want to do is I want to get an image somewhere on a web page, or I can drag it from the computer. Now we're going to select a region on the screen, and to do that I use a tool called Flameshot. You're going to see me looking off screen because I don't have a key binding that brings up the tool. What you're seeing right now is the tool bringing up. Flameshot came up on my screen. I can resize the region, Control C puts it into the system-wide clipboard. I'm going to go ahead and copy it, but I'm not going to paste it yet. I want to show you why I'm using that tool. If I bring that clip tool back up, it comes back in the same location on the screen, and I'm finding that's really useful, especially when I'm making content. I want to grab the same location on my screen. Maybe I have content that's changing, especially for documentation or things I'm writing. That's been helping out my workflow quite a bit. So I'll go ahead and copy that image into the clipboard again, go over to the web browser, I'm not web browser, but Neovim, go to the end of the line, and then we'll just type in paste, and we've got what we want right there. So we just take paste image, and notice it's prompting me for the input is the file name and where do I want this file to be written. That's based on the configuration. I'm going to show you that in a little while. I'm not going to change the file name. I'm going to let the system assign, I'm going to let the plugin assign that file name for me, and you can see the file name that is assigned for me. Now the plugin is smart enough once you've configured it to know what type of file you're in, and it will give you a URL specific to the file type that you're in. We'll see that when I show you the configuration of the plugin. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to hop up one line, and we're going to yank this text and we're going to put it back into the link area. I just thought it was kind of cool to do it that way. So we'll do a visual selection. Did that wrong. We'll do a visual selection, go to the end of the line, cut it out, move over to here, we'll paste it in, and we'll join the line back together, and now we've got a link that looks different. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use the leader key, which you would expect that to work. So we'll go back over, we'll fire up the Flameshot again, we'll move it around, and we'll grab this section down here now at the bottom, put it in the paste buffer, and at this point, if I do my leader key, which is leader P, I, for me, that's the default. The default is leader P. I changed it to PI because I typically use leader plus 2 characters for whatever I'm doing. And you can see I've got another image in the file. So if we take that and we copy to the end, we delete it out, and we just go over to character, paste it, join the 2 lines, and now my link is good again. Now you can see you can notice also that markdown image, as I'm moving around the page, it's tracking what I'm doing. So as this page gets longer and longer, the markdown preview is going to show me what I'm doing, and that's kind of cool as well. So there's a couple of things we're gonna do a break on this. I'm gonna bring up a file browser. I've got a couple images in here, and we're gonna drag some files from my file browser onto Neovim. Again, this is running Alacritty right now, and this will work, but I want to show you how it works. So we'll just pop in, and I'll open up a file browser over here, and I've got some images over here we can grab. So I'll just go down to my images directory or pictures directory. Got a couple pictures in here that don't really mean anything. So what we'll do is we'll go to the end of the line, just because, and then I'm going to grab a picture, and it's going to be probably some crazy image that's kind of small, hopefully. And so there's the next image, and you can see that there's the image right there. We're going to put we're going to do the same, go back a line, yank it, move it out, paste it back in, join the lines, and now we've got our markdown page is starting to become make a little more sense. Now notice what I am doing is I am including the number in the link. I don't have to do that. I've just chosen to do it that way for my documentation purposes. Now what we'll do is, so we grabbed a file from the browser. from the file manager. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just grab a file off the internet. So we'll go to images, img-clip.google.com. Hopefully that's the right URL, and we'll search for a bus. See if we can find a bus of some kind. Okay, so there's a school bus. Let's go with the double-decker bus. We'll drop that on the desktop. And so there, now we've got the double-decker bus. So what I've just done is I've used my Brave browser to copy an image to my hard drive. And then I can just drop that right back into, if I grab it correctly, I can grab it and I can drop it right back in. So you notice I'm gonna point out something again. I'm gonna go ahead and take the image name, and we'll do the same trick up here. We'll back up a line, we'll do a V to the end and copy it, and go over here and paste it, and join the line, find the K, and get rid of the K, and now we're done. Okay, so all's looking good on that page, and if we go back to the markdown, we're gonna see the bus in the picture now. Okay, great. So this markdown has an image on it, Now notice the mouse is changed to a hand, like it's grabbing something. I'm going to cross over into the browser. Now notice in Neovim at this point, I'm sorry, I crossed over to the boundary of Neovim, but that mouse hand did not change. That's telling me it's not going to copy. That is a limitation of Alacritty. That is not a limitation of the plugin. And I'm going to prove that in just a minute when we hop into Kitty. But so that's giving you some ideas of what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of this file browser for right now. We're probably going to bring that back up in a few minutes. And then what I'm going to do is at this point, before I change configuration settings, I want to show you a couple, I want to show you a nested test. I want to jump down to this one. Now notice this file name. This is foo-bar-baz alpha, okay? So because of the way wiki-wim works, I already have the URL set up. I'm just going to hit the return key, and boom, it's created the file for me. And now I've got this file up and running. We're going to go ahead and close that down again. Now what just happened was because I changed pages, Markdown Preview automatically stopped working, which is expected behavior in this context. But what I'm going to do at this point is we're just going to bring up a file browser again just to make this a wrong one. I want to bring that one up. We wanted to bring up the file browser, go back to the pictures, and we'll grab some else. So this is going to be microservices or something like that. Okay, microservices, great. That's what we brought up. That's what we're getting ready to add. There it is, and we'll just call that sample serverless server. Did I spell it right? ERVERLES microservices. SERVI. Did I spell it right? Okay, good enough for demos. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close these two windows over here. Remember, I'm using Alacritty. I just nuked everything. I didn't mean that's okay for me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, at this point, I'm going to start Kitty. So I'm going to just bring Kitty up. We'll go to the same directory that it was working from. So that's my img-clip directory, and we'll go right back into Neovim on the index page, which is what we expected. We're going to go to that alpha page, which is where we were, but I lost the page because I inadvertently shut it down before I inadvertently killed it. So I'll just bring that image back in. I'm not going to type it, but I'll just bring up another file browser, and we will go back to pictures. And we were going to grab serverless architecture, which was this link right here. Now notice we dragging from the file system into Neovim. So both Alacritty and Kitty honor dragging files from your file system into a Neovim, and it will give you the input prompt if you want the prompt. Click on it. I'm in the wrong window. We'll click on that, and we'll just type in sample serverless micro. That's a mouthful. ICE. Okay, that's good enough. So if you wondered how that popped up on my computer, because of the way I have things set up on my Arch Linux machine, if I have a file selected and I just press the enter key on it, it's going to bring it up in a preview. So that's what's happened there. Okay, so at this point, what we're going to do, you got that for free, by the way. Okay, obviously all this stuff is free. I was just kidding around. So what I'm going to do is bring up that markdown preview again, and we're going to see that picture is now there on this one. So what's important about this is the file name. So it's images, alpha, and then the directory. Okay, so let's take a look. We're going to hop out of Neovim real quick, and we'll just quit all the way out, and we're going to look at the tree. I've exited the session. I've started over. This time you can see I'm using Kitty, so my terminal is Kitty at this point. Want to point out the directory tree. We have an images directory. Notice in here we do not have a foo-bar-baz alpha file. We're getting ready to create that file. We're going to get out of Neovim after I do that, so I can show you what the tree looks like after I do this next test. And then we're going to make a change to my img-clip plugin to change where the location that the image file is written to. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So we're going to go into Neovim to the index page, and we're going to go to this foo-bar-baz alpha page. Here's a brand new page. that Wikivim just created for me. What I'm going to do at this point is we're just going to do a simple grab of a file from the file system. We'll go to the picture and we're going to grab a picture, and I think this is a pants and pots. So this is about pants and pots. And we'll save that file, and we'll go ahead and close this tree out, and we will ask the markdown preview to come up and show me what we did. Okay, so there's a picture of pants and pots. Okay, now what's interesting is where this file is located. So we're going to take a look at this, and you notice that we have a file directory structure created now that didn't exist before. Foo, bar, baz, images, and there's a directory, there's a file called alpha. Alpha is the page that we're editing. So we'll go ahead and go back to that page, and we will add another image. And because we're in Alacritty at this point, I'm just going to go grab I'm just going to use the clip image again, and we'll create a region. We'll just grab that mountain out in the ocean, grab that thing, come back over here and do the leader PI, and we'll save it. And that's mountain, or call it a hill in the ocean. Okay, and we'll save that, and we'll go back to the markdown page, and there's our picture right there. So now we're going to get out of Neovim, so we'll just exit so we can take a look at the tree again. Clear ended with the tree command. Okay, so notice in this context I have a file name alpha MD, and its images are very close to it, whereas all these other images are over here. So I'm going to make a change, and the next alpha image, instead of being deposited in this folder, it's going to get deposited over here. I'm going to show you how we make that change. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hop over to another window, and we'll launch. We'll go ahead and use Alacritty again. We'll go to my Neovim, and we'll hop into Neovim itself. And for those of you that have seen some of my other videos on customizing folks to-do notes or to-do comments, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my YouTube markers that I set up specifically for this video. So I just simply do a find YouTube, and there they are. So I've got a few markers in this file that we're going to go through. We're going to hop in and look at the information on the file types themselves. We'll discuss that first because it's pretty straightforward. What you can do is you can specify file types that you want to use, and then the documentation that has been written is excellent. So I suggest you read it. Of course, my plugins got, I think, every option that at the time of this video, every option is in my configuration to kind of help you get started. But Håkon has done a really good job writing this up and explaining how it works. So you can see if you get down to like the org file type or the tech file types, you can get really complicated with what you want the template to do, and it will pull variables in from the configuration so you can get a very sophisticated plugin, or I'm sorry, a very sophisticated link. A couple other things that are worth noting is some of these things are pretty much self-explanatory. If you turn debug on, you're going to get messages in your terminal that does interfere with the placement of your pointer when you're doing an insert for that hyperlink. So be aware of that because you got conflicting things going on with your UI at one time. I didn't find that disturbing. I did use debug for a little bit. I just wanted to see how it worked. I will not be demonstrating that. You may get different results if you're using folks noise, or if you got notify set up, you might see different things. I didn't experiment with that, but it is giving some feedback, which I thought was pretty cool. Some of the things so I'm doing this insert mode after paste. I'm turning that to true, so I'm in insert mode after the paste is done. So the paste is done, I don't have to do the I key as well. We are encoding the URL, and I am using the cursor in the template. So it puts the cursor in the template so you can type the link that complete the hyperlink. So this is, at this point here, notice the expand that I'm doing on line 21. The default is assets. I'm using images, and then I add to that the name of the file. Okay, so that's how I get that images, the name of the file, and then the image dropped into that location. And then of course I'm using the file name that's got the year, month, day, and timestamp in it, which I thought was pretty cool. This other thing that's cool is you can use the absolute path. It's kind of cool if you want fully qualified file names in your documentation. That flag just works. It does exactly what you would think it would do. This time we're gonna toggle this true. We're gonna toggle that to false. So I've got it toggled off so that when we're gonna go back to that same page, that nested page. We're gonna drop another image on it. We're gonna see the location of the image is gonna change. That's how that's taking place. You've already seen me using marker number 4, which was I am prompting for the file name, and I am showing the directory in the prompt of where the file is going to go. If you turn those things off, what happens is the plugin simply inserts the file, and then the next thing you see is the place for you to type in your comments for your embedded template. If you've turned off that insert, you don't get the ability to type. So do play with it, see how it works. It's kind of cool. Base 64 was the one that took me the longest time to get working correctly. Nothing wrong with the plugin here. That was just, this side, the keyboard, it wasn't quite sure how to use it. I don't use base 64 images that often, so there was a bit of a learning curve for me, but I did get it to work, and got a lot of help from Håkon as well to get that up and working correctly. These other flags are what you would expect them to be. Do I want it embedded? Do I want drag and drop enabled? Yes or no? Am I doing insert mode? Do I allow drag and drop to work while I'm in insert mode? That's a pretty cool feature. So if you're typing along, go, oh, I need a picture, I need an image, you don't have to go into normal mode. You just can drag and drop right in, assuming your terminal supports drag and drop, which from a web browser, Alacritty again doesn't work. Kitty does. So Kitty is pretty cool from that standpoint. Also, the author has done a really good job specifying a bunch of different configurations that work. So there's more terminals listed than I have time to do videos for, but there's quite an extensive list, and I'll point that out to you in a few minutes. And you can copy the images, download the images, so you can play with those things to get the exact configuration that you want on your machine. They all work. We don't have time to do all those now, otherwise this video would just be well over an hour if I tried to do them all. So what we'll do, we've got a configuration that's good for me right now, which is going to change the location of the file when I do this next command. So we'll go ahead and save this out, and we're going to hop back over to desktop number 5, and we're going to go right back into our Neovim index page, and we were on the foobar baz. This time I'm going to go ahead and add another image to that just to do it, and we will grab something from, we'll just grab a region from the screen here. So we'll just bring that back up, and we'll put that information up there. What the heck? Okay, so we'll copy that, and then we'll come over here and we'll do the leader PI. Whoops, sorry about that. Leader PI. There it goes. Come on, do it. Oh, I forgot to copy it. My bad. Forgot to copy it. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, so we're gonna go. Where was that? We'll go over to this guy. Return on the click. Don't forget to copy it. It's copied in the clipboard of this one. Leader PI. There it is. Okay, and that was just part of this screen. This page. Nothing fancy. Okay, save it out. Markdown preview, bring it back up. Okay, so that's what we just put in right there. Okay, now we're going to hop out of this, go back and look at the tree. You can already see the image directory looks different. Okay, that URL looks very different at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to get out of this thing, and we're going to do the tree command again. Let me do it this way. I'm going to bring up another session, we'll bring up Alacritty again, and we're going to do a tree. So now you're going to, whoop, wrong location, sorry about that. We're going over there, clear the screen, and we're going to do the tree again. So you're going to see side by side. So over here we got 2 images, cool, great. Now we got, look, alpha's right there, right? So we got an alpha here and an alpha here. And when we go back into the page, this is exactly what we expected, okay? We'll go back to that foobar page. We can see that that link is relative to this page, We can tell that because it starts with the word image inside the URL portion. This link, same page. This link is navigating up 3 directories to put that into the image alpha. But notice that alpha is part of the name. That's by design on my part. So if I go back a page and we just force the Charlie page to get created, should have been Charlie. Did I type that one wrong? That was alpha. That was supposed to be beta. Sorry about that. We'll just fix this in real time. What the heck? Okay, we'll go back to that page. It was beta to begin with. And then we will, at this point, we'll just grab another random picture from, we use the clipboard image thing, and we'll grab something over here, which is kind of silly, but we'll do it anyway. So I'm grabbing something from my, I keep forgetting to hit that copy button. So let me do that again, right? Hit the copy button. Okay, now it's in the image. Now I got it. We go over here and we do leader PI, leader PI, copy that thing, do that. And this is, what am I doing? That is OBS Studio picture. Okay, so we got that. Leader, markdown image, there we go. Markdown preview. Okay, so we're going to see a little bit of a snip right there on that page. So that's me grabbing something off of my video screen that I was recording on. Okay, great. So we see that that worked. It's great. And we're going to get out of the, we're going to get out and we're going to look at the tree again. And this time what we're going to, let me clear the screen so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so notice in the images directory, we have a directory for the alpha files, we have a directory for the beta files, and we have a directory for the index. And in that one page, I'm actually putting stuff in 2 different locations. Okay, so you can do this any way you want. If you don't want your images associated with the document that you're creating, then change that output directory specification. It's really that simple. It works really cool. So play with it, kind of get an idea of what's gonna make a whole lot of sense for your workflow. Okay. Now this next part of this stuff is gonna get a little interesting. We're gonna start with Alacritty because I want to show you some things that don't work with Alacritty, and then I'm going to show you some things that do work with Alacritty, and then we'll redo the same test with Kitty. So you, this part of the video is very specific to Alacritty. So we're going to go right back into the index page. How about we go to the clip image directory? We what was it called? Img-clip, and we're going to the index page. Index, there we go. Now we're going to go to the Alacritty page. We're going to run these tests right here in the order that I've got them written so you can see what they're doing. So the first is we're going to do a paste image, which we've already seen, but I want you to see it again, because when I get down to number 3, I want you to see the challenge that you can run into and some confusion that you can run into. So we'll just go ahead and bring up a web page, and we'll go to GitHub. GitHub.com. We'll go to that page for a while. And now we have an area in here. So there's this URL over here. And we're going to try to take and copy a part of that page. So we're going to grab that information right now. We expect this to work. So we're going to grab that, and it's saying something about our update to the home page. Okay, we don't really care, but we will remember to do the Control-C. Okay, we'll go back over here, and we're going to do a leader PI, and we've got some. That was the updates to GitHub homepage. Okay, that's good enough. And then if we do image. I'm sorry, that's markdown preview. It's a new key binding for me. Okay, great. That information came in just the way we expected it to. Okay, now this next test, what we're going to do is we know we have an image on the page right there. So we're going to try it. We're going to use the browser to copy that image and make a copy of it. And hopefully it's in our pasteboard. And we're going to try leader PI, and lo and behold, we got it again. Same picture. Okay, So in the case of using Brave, I know I can't drag and drop the image, but I can use the feature of Brave to copy the image, and then now it gets it into the system-wide clipboard. Now I'm going to demonstrate that that image will not copy using Alacritty. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab that image. Notice the mouse pointer. As we go across that boundary, it's not changing. So we are not getting any drag and drop capability from a browser. But if we do a drag and drop from the file manager, so we're going to do from the file manager here, file manager, there, okay. And in my case, it's off screen, but you'll see it coming in just a minute. So I'm looking off screen here, guys. Just give me a second to find the right location. So we'll go to my pictures directory, wherever that thing is. There it is, and we'll grab. I don't even know what that picture is. Yeah, it's a double ducker bus. We'll grab that. Notice that mouse pointer is got a plus sign on it. Okay. Alacritty will work when you do a drag and drop of an image from the file system into Neovim. Bada boom, bada bing. There it is, and it's that bus again. Okay, so that works kind of cool. Now, if we try to copy a URL, you see the URL is not copying. That doesn't copy. If we go to some other thing on your file system, let me see if I got a file that we can randomly grab. Like I've got a text log. Now this is just a file. That's all I'm dragging and dropping is a file at this point. So at that point, if I'm dragging and dropping from the file system to the terminal Alacritty with my plugin working, I just get the file URL. So that, okay. So if you need files, you can drag and drop and put them in. That kind of works kind of cool too. All right. Next up is Kitty. So to do that, we're going to reset and start over. So just give me a second to start over. Okay, I have 5 groups of tests I'm going to conduct with the Kitty terminal emulator, and we're going to get slightly different behavior, and I'm going to show you a couple things that surprised me and how I worked around them. This is not an issue with the plugin. This is an issue with your browser. In my case, it was Brave. So I want to show you a couple things I ran into and how I figured out what the problem was. So this first part, we expect it just to, we just expect this to work. So we're going to grab, that region of the screen. Nothing fancy here. We'll just grab that piece right there and we'll copy it. We just pasted the file in. We're going to go ahead and yank that text. And so we'll do a visual mode to the end, and we'll exit out. And we'll paste it in, join the lines, and there we've got test 1. We're going to do test 2. Now, in this particular one, we're going to demonstrate also that Kitty will support the Control-C with the browser. So what we'll do here is we'll just go to another page. We'll go to images.google, and we're going to search for buses again. And we'll take a school bus this time, and we will copy that image. And we'll go over here, and I'm not going to do leader PI. I'm just going to do, I have to do leader PI. What am I talking about? Leader PI, and put it in there. And then visual yank to the dollar, visual $X. Sorry about that. Saying it out loud wrong. Bring that in, get rid of that part. And we'll go ahead and put that back in so it's consistent with the thing above. Okay, so we have that link done, and if we go back and look, we're going to see that we've got the first little snippet, and then we got the bus in there now. Now we're going to show you some things that are kind of interesting in the way they work. So to do that, we'll go to my GitHub homepage, and got this achievement thing down here, right? And so we're just going to grab that achievement, and we're going to paste it into the page. We're going to drag and drop it. Drag and drop. Boom. Wait for it. Notice in that particular context, you didn't get an image. you got a URL, which is exactly the way you expect it to work in this context. So some of it is going to have to do with how the image is set up on the site that's sharing it. It could be a URL. There could be some other things. I'm going to show you that in just a second. So if we take my one of my other repos and we just try to grab that link and we're going to drag and drop that in, we're actually going to get that URL to that page. We're not going to get the word Amber. We're going to get an actual URL. So it takes a little time for it to figure out what to do, and the browser's communicating with us in the background, and eventually it's going to show up, and it did, but I got it in the wrong place. I had my mouse in the wrong place. Let me do that again so you see what I did. So it actually inserted it into the middle of the elements. Let me do that again. I'm going to drag that to this new line, and we'll see it come in right below, right here. There it comes. So we can bring that up, and that URL worked. Now this next one is the one that kind of threw me. So I'm going to go to my home page. Now if you notice, it says I have 102 repositories. That tells me I'm logged into GitHub because I've got private repositories that I keep personal stuff in. If I try to drag my mug over here, I'm going to get a URL. That really confused me. I didn't expect to get that. I expected to get my picture. Why did I expect to get my picture? If I go over and look at my inbox, this is just a shortcut for me to get there, and I go to the author's page, I'm going to get something completely different when I drag his picture in. First of all, let me put that over here where you can see it. Notice it's asking me for a prompt. I'm going, when I first ran into that, I was like, what in the world is going on? Why did I get Håkon's page, but I didn't get mine? That really confused me. Yes, I'm using my mouse. I already had my mouse in my hands. There's no reason to take my hand off the mouse when I had it in my hand. Okay, so what's going on here? Best I can tell, and if anybody else can explain this better than what I'm getting ready to do, the best I can tell is there's something to do with the way I'm logged into GitHub right now, and I'm going to prove that to you, and this is the way I did the troubleshooting. I am going to go into my browser and I'm going to create a new window, and I'm going to go to github.com. Trap, same guy, okay, and we're going to go back to Trap over here. And where do you go? All right, notice 102 repositories, 71 repositories. So the one that's 71, that's the public view. That's the view that everybody else sees. The other one is not the public view. So when I grab this ugly mug right now, let's put the cursor down where we can actually see it. I drag it now, guess what? I'm going to get a picture this time. Wait for it to come in, boom. Now that took me a little while to figure out what was going on. So I have a background in a lot of software development and a lot of testing. So I went through well over 150 scenarios putting this video together, and that was the only way I could get that to work. That was the only thing that I noticed that was causing that problem, was there was something about me being logged in that's causing it to copy the account URL as opposed to the picture. I believe that is the way the browser is interacting with the plugin, not the plugin. Because if you noticed, the plugin, I did not restart Alacritty. I'm sorry, I did not restart Kitty. The behavior changed because of the browser, and the browser's interacting with the plugin, not the change. There was nothing at all that changed about the plugin. So don't think it's the plugin until you've done a lot of testing to make sure you know what it's doing, okay? Because it does get a little crazy at times. So now what we're going to do is we will hop over to YouTube just to see. I think what we're going to see here is some random, whatever that stuff is. There's a cat. There's a short, somebody's jumping out of a plane. I don't know. Okay, there's a survival guy. Okay, he's a warning dude. Okay, what happens? We are going to get the URL. So you don't get the video, which is expected, you get the link to the video. So that's kind of cool when you're dragging and dropping things. When you're using a terminal that supports full drag and drop capability, you get some really cool things. So if you need URLs really quick, that's a really fast way to get them. So in my case, we'll do one other thing. We will get rid of this stuff. If we go into that YouTube at this point and I hit it, it's going to launch it. Okay, we're not going to play it. I just wanted to show you. That's the byproduct of Wikivim. Okay, so I've got those things done. We don't need to do test 5 because I've already done it for you. So we're going to get out, and now we're going to do the last part of this video. During this part of the demonstration, I'm going to be showing you the paste image feature, and we're going to convert that image to base64 encoded. Now keep in mind, this does not work for drag and drop capability. It's only for the paste image. So when I drag and drop an image, even though this image is small enough for base64 to be encoded based on the way I've got my configuration, I will in fact copy the image because I did the drag and drop. I use the drag and drop route. So when I go ahead and hit the enter key here, I'm going to get that opportunity to type in the prompt, and that's image fit was pasted. Okay. Now, if I bring up my screen snipping tool, I've already got the region selected. I put it in the clipboard with the Control-C command. Now it's in the image clipboard, so when I do the paste, it's going to encode it as base64. So we'll go ahead and type in that leader PI, and you can see that this is now base 64 encoded. Okay, so Wikivim, the file type I'm using for Wikivim doesn't hide the full image, and that's by design of that particular plugin, but that's okay for me. What I'm going to do is we're going to bring up the markdown preview. So we'll do the markdown preview so you can actually see that that image has been copied twice. Now what we'll do is we'll just bring up another tab on Brave browser, and we're just going to scroll down. I don't really care what we see in here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that screen clipping tool again, and we're going to clip a small region, whatever that camera is, don't really care. We're going to copy it, and we're going to see what we get. I don't know how big that image is, but if it's too big, what I will get is I will get a file as opposed to 64 base 64 encoded. So let's just see what happens here. We'll go in here and do the paste image command, and that file is bigger than the limit. So instead of it being encoded base 64, it went in as an image. So image too big. This was image too big. Okay, whether it's spelled correctly or not, at least be consistent, right? Image too big. Okay, cool. I know this was a really long video because there was a lot to cover with it. I hope you guys got something out of this. You can see that this is an extremely powerful plugin. Håkon has done a wonderful job with this. He's been nice to work with. He's been very responsive to my questions. I hope that this video has done justice to the work that he's done and actually making this plugin work. A couple caveats to know about. If you try to use this plugin from a Windows subsystem for Linux, you will have the ability to do your copy paste image. Drag and drop capability is not supported with WSL right now. I did do some testing on Windows 11, both with Windows subsystem Linux and Windows natively. It's a little more difficult for me to do Windows 11 natively because I don't have all the tools set up for that environment, because that's not a production environment for me. I use the WSL side. But using this at work, in a work setting, I would be using, the Windows terminal. I might be using Alacritty. I might be using Kitty. Do something different on the Windows subsystem for Linux side. the paste image always worked regardless of the browser that I was using. Or, I'm sorry, it always worked regardless of the terminal I was using. It always worked regardless of the browser that I was using on. So I tested dragging and dropping things from Edge, copying images from Edge. I also used Brave, both native Brave to Ubuntu and native Brave to Windows. All of them copied images when I used the paste image just fine, even though it was going across the system boundaries of the two operating systems. So I thought that was kind of pretty cool. The other thing that I thought that was very interesting was I learned a lot about different terminals. I've been using Alacritty quite a bit. Kitty's, I had to learn how to set it up because that hasn't been my primary editor. There's another terminal out there that I didn't get to experiment with. I wanted to, but was WEZ term. That looks like it would be. That looks like it would work specifically for the paste image part. I think if you tried to use WEZ term, I think you can get it to work. But you're going to have to set up by default. It doesn't have mouse support, so you gotta. That editor is very. I'm sorry. That terminal emulator is extremely configurable. I've just started playing with that this weekend as well. I was hoping I could do some videos with that, but some of this video with that terminal emulator, I'm just not comfortable enough with that terminal yet to do videos with it. So anyway. Just take a look at my site again. I'm going to go back and show that to you one more time. So we're going to go back and as a final closeout, we're going to take a look at, we'll go into Neovim here. So as a final shout out to Håkon, thanks for your help. I really appreciate working with you on this video. I know that you weren't part of the video, but you were actually part of the content that I needed to make the video work. So I appreciate you being responsive to me and all the things that I did and answering my questions as best you could. You can see that this configuration in totality, we got 104 lines of code in here. If there's something in the configuration, I put it in here. So if you want to use this particular plugin, you can see, if we take a look at my file subsystem, it's just another plugin that Neovim or that LazyVim knows about. If you grab this file off of my configuration, grab it, drop it right in, and the thing is just going to work. Okay, it's really that simple. So you can see there's no dependencies. You can enable it, turn it on, turn it off. I do lazy load it. It works really well with the lazy loading. That was kind of cool. The key binding that I use, the default is leader P. I use leader I. But everything else was it was really easy to use, really easy to set up. I removed the documentation because the default configuration does have a lot of good documentation in it. I just removed it so it was more compressed, when we're doing the video, so I can talk about the files as opposed to reading code to you. So, final shout out. Thanks again for watching. Hope you're having a great day no matter where you are in the world, and may God bless you and enjoy the rest of your day.